You like to think you're in control, that when you say yes, it's your choice. When you buy something, it's your decision. When you trust someone, it's because you want to. But what if I told you most of those decisions weren't really yours? In the next few minutes, you're going to see something most people never notice. The subtle psychological tricks people use on you every day, why your brain falls for them without realizing it, and how to flip those same tactics back in your favor. Because once you see these patterns, you won't just notice them. You'll feel them happening in real time. Let's start with something simple. Think about the last time you agreed to something, even though a part of you didn't want to. Maybe it was small, helping someone, buying something, saying yes to a plan. You hesitated, but still said yes. Why? Imagine this. Someone asks you, "Hey, can you help me with something quick?" You say yes. It feels harmless. Then later, "Can you also take care of this part?" You pause, but agree again. And then finally, "Actually, can you just handle the whole thing?" And somehow, you're now doing everything. This is the commitment trap. Your brain is wired to stay consistent. Once you say yes once, saying no later feels uncomfortable. It feels like you're contradicting yourself. So instead, you continue, not because you want to, but because your brain wants to avoid that internal tension. And the scary part, you don't feel manipulated. You feel responsible. Let me ask you something honestly. How many times have you said yes just to avoid feeling awkward? Now watch this. You're with a friend. They say, "Should we get burgers or pizza?" You pick one. Feels like your decision, right? But notice something. You were never deciding whether to go out, only where to go. That's the illusion of control. People don't force you. They limit your options, and your brain fills in the rest. This happens everywhere. Subscriptions, menus, online shopping, even life decisions. You're choosing, but inside a box someone else designed. And because you made the final choice, you feel in control. Now here's where it gets deeper. These tactics aren't just used casually. They're used strategically by salespeople, managers, influencers, even people close to you. And once you start seeing it, you realize how often it happens. Picture this. You're negotiating something. You say a price. The other person just stays silent. No reaction, no response, just silence. Suddenly, you feel uncomfortable. The air feels heavy. Your mind starts racing. Did I say something wrong? Is that too high? Are they upset? So what do? You start talking. You explain. You justify. You lower your offer. You fill the silence. Silence creates pressure. Your brain hates uncertainty. It wants closure. It wants feedback. So it tries to escape that discomfort by giving something away. And in that moment, you lose control. But here's the part most people miss. The strongest manipulation doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like your own decision. Someone says to you, "After everything I've done for you," pause. Now something shifts. You're no longer thinking logically. You're feeling guilt, obligation, pressure, and suddenly you agree. This is emotional hijacking. When emotions take over, logic steps aside. Your brain prioritizes feeling over thinking, and whoever controls your emotions controls your decisions. Think about how often this happens. Not just guilt, but fear, excitement, urgency, limited time offer, only a few left. Don't miss out. These aren't just phrases, they're triggers. They push your brain into reaction mode. And when you react, you don't evaluate, you just decide. Now step back for a second. Look at the pattern. You say yes to stay consistent. You choose from limited options. You break under silence. You react to emotion. All of this feels normal, but it's not random. It's predictable. And once something is predictable, it can be used. Here's the truth that changes everything. People don't control you by force. They control the environment around your decisions, and your brain does the rest. That's why it feels like you're in control, even when you're not. But once you understand this, everything flips. You stop reacting automatically. You start noticing patterns. You create space between trigger and response. That space is where control exists. Now imagine the same situations again. Someone asks you for help. Instead of answering immediately, you pause. That pause breaks the automatic yes. You're given two options. Instead of choosing, you ask, "Is there another option?" Suddenly, the box expands. Someone stays silent. Instead of filling it, you let it sit. Now they feel the pressure. Someone tries to trigger emotion. Instead of reacting, you slow down. You separate feeling from decision. These are small changes, but they shift everything. Because manipulation only works when it's invisible. Once you see it, it loses power. Let's go deeper. There's another layer most people don't notice, and it's even more subtle. It's called social proof. You walk into a restaurant. One is empty. The other is full. Which one do you choose? Most people pick the full one, not because they analyzed it, but because others already made the decision. Your brain assumes if everyone else chose this, it must be right. Same thing online. More likes, more views, more followers. It creates trust without evidence. And once you trust something, you stop questioning it. That's how influence scales. Not through force, but through perception. Now add authority. If someone confident tells you something, you're more likely to believe it, even if it's wrong. Not because of facts, but because of delivery. Your brain associates certainty with truth. And when confidence, social proof, and emotion combine, you don't just believe, you follow. Now here's where it flips. Everything you've seen so far can be reversed, not to manipulate people, but to protect yourself, and more importantly, to communicate with awareness. When you understand these patterns, you stop being controlled by them. You don't rush decisions. You don't react instantly. You don't confuse pressure with importance. You start asking better questions. Do I actually want this? Why do I feel rushed? Who benefits from this decision? Those questions slow everything down, and speed is what manipulation relies on. The slower you think, the harder you are to control. Now here's something interesting. Most people think control is about dominance, being louder, stronger, more aggressive. But real control is quiet. It's the ability to stay calm when others are pushing. It's the ability to pause when others expect reaction. It's the ability to think when others feel. That's what makes someone hard to influence. They don't resist. They don't fight. They just don't react automatically. And that alone changes the entire dynamic. Because the moment you stop reacting predictably, you become unpredictable, and unpredictable people are hard to control. So remember this, your brain craves consistency. It avoids discomfort. It reacts to emotion. It fills gaps automatically. That's exactly what manipulation targets. But awareness breaks the pattern. If you've ever felt like you agreed to something you didn't fully want, now you know why. And more importantly, you know how to stop it. But here's something even more interesting. There's one psychological trigger that can make people trust you instantly, even if they just met you. It's so subtle, most people miss it completely. But once you understand it, you'll start noticing why certain people are instantly liked, followed, and believed without effort. If this made you see things a little differently, that's where awareness begins. And once you start noticing these patterns, you won't unsee them. If you found this valuable, consider subscribing and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. I'd be interested to hear what stood out to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.